Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. We're gonna give it a go. As you can see, the daylight is out once again, but as you can also hear, I have apparently picked up a cold somewhere in my vacation travels between my buddy's wedding and then kind of getting my way back to Connecticut over the last day. All of a sudden, I just started to get the post-nasally thing going, and it's been a lot of coughing up crap this morning. That's too much information for y'all. Y'all need to know that. What you do need to know is that I had a great time at my buddy Nico and Maddie's wedding. Congratulations to both of them. I love you two so much. What a phenomenal weekend it was. I got up to Mystic on Thursday and I was there through Sunday, and then just kind of kicked it around a little bit, came home, got a little pool time in, but somewhere in getting that pool time in, this has happened. So I've been struggling all morning to try to get this one going. Could not do anything last night, and here we are. So we're gonna try to give it a go. As you can hear, my voice doesn't sound great, a little stuffed up. I have lots of tissues and things around here, but again, things you don't need to necessarily worry about. We can make sure those are not included in today's video. However, if I'm clearing my throat or I'm coughing, or now you understand. But anyway, we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about Star Wars. And I didn't realize that episode 3 was going to be the thing that divided so many people with this show. I know there are a lot of people that have been hating from Go, but I didn't expect what I thought was the best episode to date to be the one that kind of divided the Star Wars fandom. And based on things I have heard from people who got the first 4 episodes, doesn't seem like episode 4 is going to be the thing that saves this show from the people who are really struggling with it. But nevertheless, after a little backstory last week, I'm ready to keep moving forward and seeing where this story takes us next. What are we talking about? Why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat? We are getting ready to take a look at The Acolyte, Season 1, Episode 4 Day. And as you can see, we have now, for sure, just come down to single word titles. Rather than having 2 single words, now it's just 1 word. But Day, which is synopsis-wise, racing to the next target, the Jedi head to a new world as they close in on a clever assassin. And that's right, we're going back to that wooded forest planet that our Wookiee is hanging out at. And once again, I have forgotten his name. Kelnacca. There it is. Dope Wookiee name. I like that name, Kelnacca. Anyway, before we dive into this week's episode, things coming out of last week that we didn't necessarily touch on. Certainly the, blowing up George Lucas's entire world and just ripping things away from Anakin. I was clearly not on that page last week. And I will say, I've listened to some people who, I follow that are Star Wars fans, and I tend to like their content because they're pretty down the middle. They call it pretty even. And I've heard some of the conversation around this Anakin stuff and how this is just destroying what Lucas built and it makes Anakin not special and he's supposed to be the one because these witches made 2 babies. I don't see how the existence of May and Osha have anything to do with Anakin being the one. I don't see how this story ruins any of that stuff. And we're only 3 episodes into this, you know what I mean? And whether you like what Filoni has been creating or not, the one thing you can't deny with that dude is his Star Wars knowledge is legit, right? Sat next to Lucas for years. I don't think that dude would allow a show to ruin anything that George Lucas built. And again, I don't see how this witchcraft stuff has anything to do with what Palpatine did or Anakin being the one or any of that stuff. And if y'all saw Ahsoka, Filoni is only enhancing Anakin being the one. And knowing that he's coming back for season 2 makes me think we're gonna go down that, go legitimately down that that path of post-death Anakin balancing the Force. So to say that, I just think it's nuts. I don't want hate down in the comment section, but if y'all want to try to educate me further than what I have, listening to the folks that I do, agree with on things and understand their opinions, or talking to people that I know that are big Star Wars fans, I'm just not seeing that. We're going to put that one to bed hopefully get back to things that I at least enjoy. But before we go there, other things that we didn't really hit. Look, I said many times, and I've seen many people really not like the kids in the last episode. And I said it many times last week, where it's like, I felt like there was a very natural kid back and forth with these two girls because they're real life sisters. Rewatching the episode, I understand what people are saying. I think you could have gotten that same vibe without it being kind of silly. You know what I mean? And that's a fair and a valid point. It didn't really take me out of it too much, but again, I did think that a lot of their back and forths felt very natural. I've had very similar back and forths. I've watched siblings and cousins have similar back and forths when an adult is trying to teach you or show you something. I didn't think it was that far-fetched. However, I do get that it plays a little silly in a show that should be a little bit darker toned. And to that point, yes, I think the director, I don't remember who was directing this one, but yeah, they probably could have directed that scene a little bit different. Game of Thrones. Watched that on Sunday. And there's a whole moment. I don't know if it was the new episode or one of the last episodes from season 1, because I kind of rewatched everything. But there was a moment where all the kids start going nuts, right? And I think it was season 1. King comes in and he's like, "Quiet, everybody," right? Like this whole thing. And that had a very similar vibe in the fact that like there are things going on and things that these kids should be paying attention to, but they're being kids. You could have maybe gotten something closer to that type of realm where it's not like, "Get off of me," and yada yada yada. And just kind of had them bickering in the background, maybe while we're focused more on Anastasia than having them all in that shot. Again, something that I didn't think was that terrible. And, you know, I thought the kids did a pretty good job. I do, you know, as I said, Leah Brady, who was in Violent Night, I think is very talented. She's very good in that movie, and I know that she's got talent. Her sister, you know, maybe a little bit less so. But I thought they were both solid, and again, I thought the things that they were doing kind of fell in line with stuff that you see from kids. But anyway, there's that piece of what I think. And then there's the mother Koril of it all. And the fact that this show hasn't really taken its turn into the dark tone that we were kind of promised, right? This was going to be a show that explored the Sith and their reemergence and kind of getting into that place. And yeah, none of that appears to be present. However, we've gotten enough little things where people are making the assumptions on who the big bad Sith is. See him at the end of episode 1, lights up the saber, you're like, let's go. Haven't really gone back to that, and that again is a fair critique. I don't think the show is getting as dark and gritty as I was hoping it was going to, but again, we are only 3 episodes in, and like 2 episodes of the forward story progress. We had kind of put pause to go tell backstory last week. But, you know, there's still a lot to be had. So I hope that the show starts getting a little bit darker, a little bit more into the Sith. But again, listening to people who have seen all 4 episodes before, like we got more than the first 2. It doesn't seem like episode 4 is going to be that one, but I think you got to give the show its whole run, see where it goes. But we are lacking a little bit in that Sith territory, and then when it comes to these different theories, right, people saying Manny Jacinto could be that guy in the mask. I pose that it's probably more likely that he is the apprentice to that guy, you know, or an acolyte, you know, like May is. But in some, like, he's definitely more connected and tied in, and I want to know more about Qimir. But I don't think he's necessarily the big bad. Now there's all this, could it be Mother Koril that's the big bad? And again, I'm thinking that that's probably not the case. I think it's probably more likely that Koril is the apprentice in this scenario. Like, I think now Qimir probably less so an apprentice, you know, but certainly more involved in stuff there. But I think it's more likely that Koril is an embedded agent of some kind. Like, I think she was probably embedded with these witches to be doing dark side things. And when, I mean, obviously I can't remember what species type, but it's the same species that live on Dathomir, you know, when it comes to the Night Sisters and their whole go. So wondering if she had any ties into the Night Sisters at all pre her getting to this place and forming this coven, and if in those passings she somehow picked up with the Sith in some way. Again, I think considering what I've seen Headland do in the past with mysteries and being able to keep you guessing and giving us new mysteries and things to uncover every episode, it really would feel too telegraphed for it to be Jacinto, to be Qimir, or Mother Koril for me. But I think it's more likely that they're both tied into it. But when it comes to what happens in last week's episode, it seems very unlikely, even with the Jedi clearly being more boasty and like better than everyone type vibes. They wouldn't just commit mass murder. Someone would have had to start something. So I wonder if Koril, right, like started something or got into somebody's head to start something. I wonder if she took control of somebody like Torben. If Torben was the one who shot first, he is not necessarily shoots, but like, you know, could do something being a Padawan in and of himself, right? Like too young, not familiar with these situations. Maybe he does something that leads to whatever that big explosion thing is. And the other piece that we like touched on briefly, but the way May's entire vibe flips, the thing I was missing was like, oh, she's hanging with Mother Koril all that time. So maybe Mother Koril has done something to her, is inside her head in some way, and that's why she's like, I'm going to kill you to Osha, right? Like, I think it's very likely that Koril was tapped into whatever May ended up doing, and when May got back to that tree, who was the one that found them at the beginning of last week? Oh yeah, it was Mother Koril. Very likely that if May were to go to that tree looking for Osha, because that's always where Osha is, if Koril's not dead, and you do not see her body on the floor anywhere, and I don't even think Anastasia is dead, to be honest with you, even though she is the one that's dead center in the middle of that room. I feel like there's more for both of those characters, especially when you have someone like Jodie Turner-Smith. But then I guess we're doing the same thing when it comes to freaking Carrie Ann Moss, right? Like, you go out, you get these talented people, and then what? We give them a bucket of, you know, I mean, at least Jodie Turner-Smith got a whole episode, right? Like, I feel like Carrie Ann Moss has had 5 lines this whole freaking show. I really hope that, one, I think we're going to go back to that moment. We're going to see what actually happened, and we'll get more from the Jedi perspective, so hopefully there's more for Carrie Ann Moss to do in there. But, like I said, I think it's very likely that Koril somehow involved in whatever happened and however it was staged, because like it didn't look bloody, it looked just too clean when they ran into everybody and saw that everybody was dead. And my guess would be that Koril is the one that finds May, tells May what happened, and has been building her up to probably be a Sith in some way, shape, or form. That's my guess. I'm thinking that Qimir and Mother Koril are 2 people who are closely tied to the Sith and whatever their plans are, but not the top end of those things. So that's kind of where I am coming out of last week. I'm very interested now to jump back to present time. Let's go try to save this 3rd Jedi. Probably not going to happen, although I just have a tough time picturing a Wookiee Jedi getting taken out, even by a Sith member. But I guess, we'll see. We got assassination things going on for May this episode. I feel like I've rambled enough, especially with how I'm feeling. So, let's shut up. Let's get the episode up for y'all. It's kind of shimmy. All right, I feel like I'm ready to rock and roll. You have the episode up in front of you. I have to get it in front of me. Let's not waste any more time. Let's jump in to the Acolyte, Season 1, Episode 4, Day. Kelnacca! Can I get a whole show where we just follow Kelnacca around? Because, he feels like a character I want to spend all the time. I just want to hang out with Wookiee Jedi. Wookiees in general, but a Wookiee Jedi, so freaking dope. Symbols and things. Wookiee's cooking. And there he's got it's the same symbol that ended up on May's head. So what is that thing's deal? Coruscant.
Keep each movement tight.
Oh yes, I need more
subtle.
Daphne Keene for sure.
Diminish areas of vulnerability. Maximize your defenses without need to strike. That's our time. Dara, Rena, I want to see your opening stance before you leave.
Osha,
Oh, getting out of here.
you're not staying?
I've done what I needed to do. Thank you.
For what?
I may never have known for certain May was alive. And thanks to you, I've seen her with my own eyes, even if I failed to stop her.
I figured
Right.
you'd stay until we apprehended her. I mean, you must be curious after all this time.
Interesting.
May is the Jedi's problem now, and I'm not a Jedi. Don't tell me
Feel like while we were watching last week's episode, things happened.
You care about me. You mourn the years lost between the two of you.
someone must find May before she does any more harm. But it's not me.
Interesting.
I can't. Next time I'm on Coruscant, though, I'll look you up.
Huh.
And we'll go to a cantina and trade stories about Master Soul.
Did you say goodbye to him?
You should say goodbye to him. Who is this? Landing on this. Ah, yes, Qimir and May. It's a cool ship. Relaxing forest retreat getaway or something like that.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! I wouldn't just take off if I were you. Kofar is massively uncharted. I know bounty hunters won't set foot in these forests.
Oh, but you have.
Yes, I have. To find the Wookiee. And it was hard. That is one Jedi
So fascinating that he's playing it silly all the time.
You went in there and risked your life for my master?
No, I risked my life to help you. Admit it. You need me. You know, your sister being alive doesn't change anything. You need to kill the Wookiee. You made a deal.
There's 3 hours of sunlight left.
Feels like a lot of love-hate between these two. Or is it just like he gets on May's nerves? Which I think is part of his play. Like I said, like the whole tripping over that thing, whatever that was, like he's so much darker and more serious than that, I think. Look at him studying May.
Someone has trained her.
But who?
She doesn't know her master's identity, but she fears him.
An apprentice who doesn't know their master.
This girl could become a major threat.
She's not disciplined.
Yet she eluded you, and she killed 2 Jedi Masters.
I like that the picture of Torben they have is young baby-faced Torben. Why do they have a picture of him with the beard? Even he'd just been floating for 10 years.
4 Jedi stationed on her home planet when she was a child. How odd. She turns up all these years later, trained by one of our own.
You think a Jedi taught her?
Even a hologram can.
We must alert the High Council.
The High Council.
So they're very not on their radar.
We should handle this ourselves. We must learn who trained her.
That's the other mystery.
Master Holden, extract Kelnacca from his post on Kofar and intercept Manny.
Why are you not sending...
Not expecting it to come to that.
Yo, Nestor, what's your deal?
This meeting is adjourned.
That should be Soul's mission.
Master Bonestra, please.
Why didn't you tell me about this?
I did.
Yeah, right?
16 years ago. Why didn't you tell me there was a chance this poor girl survived?
If I thought there was, of course I would have. I saw her fall. No one could have survived that.
Well, she did.
Let me be the one to bring her in.
Your personal connection with her and her sister is not a benefit here.
May's objective is not solely her own. You must know that.
I fear May is only a small part of her master's larger plan. Something to tip the scales.
If she resists arrest and Holden neutralizes her,
It won't come to that.
then the Her Master will.
Mm-hmm.
She will not surrender without getting something in return.
Soul's my guy, bro.
Do we have something she wants?
Like, give Li Jung-jae everything he wants in Star Wars. I will follow that dude's story easy.
How do you kill a Jedi without a weapon? It has to be some sort of test, right? You engage unarmed, but can use their saber?
That's why she's been going after the saber. That was the same question I was asking.
I'm just curious how you're gonna do it this time. You failed so much.
Fail so much.
I killed Indara, and I killed Torben.
But you killed them your way. You have to kill the Wookiee without a weapon. Your master wants
What kind
you
of deal
to...
did you make with him?
I didn't. We didn't. Exactly. I just owe him. You know how he is. He collects people.
I've never seen his face. Have you?
I think you have.
Oh, look. There it is. The perimeter.
I don't think he's the master,
Can't believe my sister's Jedi
but
scum.
he's connected.
What was she like when you spoke to her?
She seemed in over her head.
Mhm.
She seemed really fond of that one Jedi Master. What was his name again? Soul?
Acting like that. I freaking love this guy so much. Like, Jacinto's so good. The way he's playing coy and not knowing as much as he knows, but then, like, sometimes can't help but like say things where it's like, you clearly know more than you know.
Osha!
So,
I went to find you, and Jackie said you already left.
I'm sorry I didn't say goodbye.
I need your help. I need you to come with me on this mission.
You want me to rejoin the Jedi?
Not official.
Ouch.
Oh,
She was looking for a affirmation there.
I can't.
When I told May you were alive, her eyes softened. She became a different person.
Saw that.
If you come, they will allow us both to go. I don't want May to get hurt. I know you don't either. There is still good in her. The part of her that loves you.
That redemption arc.
She's a murderer.
I think that Osha doesn't want to give it to her.
But she is still your family.
But you're so right, soul.
Fine.
Hard to say no to this dude.
I'm not wearing that civilian robe.
No one has heard from him in over a year.
Ah, yes, Yord.
Been unresponsive to our warning transmissions.
Adorable creature and adorable droid. It's too much to take.
Where's that? That's Basil.
Basil.
Is he or they with us?
Any questions, civilian?
No, very comprehensive briefing, York.
I also love that her and Jackie have become tight. That's a fun little back and forth. I am waiting, though. I'm waiting for this show to shift tonally to something darker. I don't mind the light moments, but we are getting a little bit deep into the storytelling to keep being haha when I want to be like ho ho ho, you know what I mean?
We're looking for a Wookiee who's big and hairy.
Look at this guy. Got some Batman gauntlets on there. Electrocution.
You're gonna need to hand that blaster over.
Well, it's mine now.
Well, it's actually the property of the Jedi Order, so I'm afraid I'm going to have to insist that you hand it over.
Freaking Yord. Jackie pissed that guy off.
The locals say he ventured off into the forest and never came back.
I just like how interested he is in what's going on.
Kelnacca is in there.
Like the way he senses things. Oh man, I really do love Lee Jung-jae. He's so good.
How do we find him?
We have a tracker.
Oh, that's why this little guy's there. He's a little tracker. I don't know what kind of animal he's supposed to be. What kind of animals do tracking that aren't dogs?
Yord. Do you understand what the Basil is?
The Basil.
It's Basil, and yes, although most Padawans want to learn Shariwak, I took it upon myself to learn the language of
This guy. Yord.
Okay, well, if you're upset I'm on this mission, join the club.
I'm not upset. I am concerned for your safety.
Yord, I need to ask you a favor. Soul thinks that May can be saved.
Master Soul is a wise Jedi. You must have reason to suspect May will listen to what you have to say.
But if it comes to it,
You put her down.
doesn't listen to me. You need to stop her. I won't be able to do it.
I like that Osha recognizes that about herself.
I can't hesitate a second time.
I've known you since we were younglings. May has always been your wound. Maybe Soul brought you here to face her, but maybe he brought you here to face yourself. We need to catch up.
I really do like Yord, man. Like, he's a dweeb sometimes. But I think he's a legitimately good Jedi, you know? Just tries a little too hard. And it's like that guy who has to make sure you know that he's in a position of power, right? Like, he's just one of those guys. But I like that Osha can recognize that she will not be able to kill May if that's what it comes to. And she wants, like, clearly, no matter how much of a dweeb Yord is, like, in the times that they've known each other since they were younglings, that's clearly somebody that she really trusts. So I like getting to see that bit. Check these woods out. What are those, man? Tree? That's an insect sack? We're gonna freaking find out what's in those things. This little guy is adorable. I wish it was a guy in a suit, though.
Says there's something wrong here. Something rotten.
Keep up the pace. Keep down the volume. We don't know. And we don't want to know what lives.
That's fair. I like that. Keep up the pace and keep down the volume. No. Osha, we just said we don't want to know what's out here. Come on. Those... I feel like we're gonna see what's in those pods. Yep. Oh no. Oh, it's an insect. I hate an insect. Oh, like, there's a lot of them. Yo, get moving, Osha. Can they fly?
So,
What is that? Oh, God. Why are we running back toward where all of them are? Yeah, home run time.
I have it.
Give me the home run swing. Bow!
It went straight for the saber.
It's attracted to light.
Let's move.
Yeah, before the rest of these
It'll be dark soon.
wake up. I like every once in a while, man, the writing is just like two on the nose. It went right to the saber, it's attracted to the light. Like, that's what bugs do. I don't think I needed either of those two lines.
I was able to sense that creature.
And force still flows within you.
And now it's dead.
Oh, you took that to a dark place.
It's always an honor to get to witness anything or anyone transform into the Force. Although you've had more experience with death than I have.
Well, I could never accept death as a true Jedi should.
You're a true Jedi.
I couldn't accept what I'd lost. The resentment that I felt for my sister, even though I missed her at the same time.
We're not defined by what we lose. We're defined by what we survive.
I like this Jackie.
You've survived a lot.
Daphne Keen continues to be very good, although they continue to not give her too much.
No. You can't stop now.
I have to fight a Wookiee after this trek. I'd like to rest for a minute.
Right?
If that's all right with you.
It's not, but okay.
Seems very eager.
It's not a test. He calls it the final lesson. He says, your final lesson is when you teach yourself. You will kill a Jedi without a weapon. Attacking a defenseless person goes against everything the Jedi stands for. How do you kill someone like that? Unarmed. It's not a test. It's impossible.
It's not impossible.
It's not impossible. You know that.
He like wants to say the answer.
I want this more than anything, but it's impossible. If I don't do it, he'll kill me.
Strike it down.
I care. Here. I'm gonna find you more water. You're right. You need rest. You're losing your nerve. We can't have that, can we?
Manny Jacinto is taking advantage of every second of screen time he has, though. It's like, right now, I feel like we're very stagnant in the storytelling. Like, we're just doing the same thing we did the first two episodes. But we're getting more of the same, and it feels like it's taking even longer to get there, right? Like, episode 1, boom, right out the gate. And episode 2, you know, right out the gate to a degree, but like Torben just be floating in a force field. So I don't know if I needed to see the Jedi and May moving through the woods.
Great. It's vanished again.
Vanished again.
So we
There.
need a tracker just to track our tracker.
They're having a day.
We've lost Basil.
Well, that's weird.
May!
Oh no! She trapped him?
May! Help!
You know, after running through that forest for an extremely long time, I realized something. I don't need to do this anymore. I don't need to kill a Jedi without a weapon. I don't need to keep this deal.
What?
Yeah, what?
Cut me down!
You were wrong. Osha being alive changes everything. My loyalty is to Osha, not your master.
What?
What I'm going to do is surrender myself to Kelnacca, and then turn myself into the Jedi.
No, stop!
It's 10 minutes south, right?
The Jedi will put you in prison.
Not after I tell them who I know.
Who do you know?
He'll kill you.
You'd have to find me first. And I don't know if even he could make it all the way over here without a guide. I'll have to admit it. I did need you.
Huh. Well, that, I'm confused on that shift.
She could have gone far. Where could she be?
I don't know.
Again, Soul's observing eyes. What we got over there?
What is it?
It's nothing.
You wouldn't let me confront my own Olega.
You weren't ready.
But I'm ready now.
This is different.
I sense things again, in a way that gives me the courage to face her.
Two of them are spinning very quickly.
Once we get May safely to the ship, I'll explain everything.
What has he been keeping from May? Found it. She's gonna turn herself. Well, that was silly. Oh, Tracker found her.
He's found May. Osha, stay behind us.
I didn't want her to stay. I'm so confused. Just getting into Kelnacca's abode?
Master Kelnacca.
Is he already dead? Who would have killed him already? Dude. Well, that sucks.
He's here.
Why would he show up without knowing, like... Unless it is Manny Jacinto. Oh, I'm not gonna cut himself down, gets there faster than she does.
Anyone inside that domicile should come out with your hands where we can see them.
That means you, May Anastasia.
I think we are gonna get that showdown we saw in the trailers coming up here, though, so maybe the end of this episode has a little pop. Soul senses something off again. Also, why is he... That person float? But, like, he's so much more in tune than everybody else. Oh, that is a dope freaking helmet, though. Are those, like, teeth?
What is that?
Oh, dude, if that's Manny Jacinto, I'm gonna be really disappointed.
Identify yourself.
Also, definitely don't think it could be Koril, because, like, spikes. Friggin' weird grin is terrifying. Dude, I love that grin, though. Oh, here we go. Light him up.
Watch out! Run!
It's very... And that's where we end? Oh, man. That's... Oh, okay, well... You hear this scoring right now? Like, this is the tone I want more present in this show. Now, there is another critique that I heard several people say after the first two episodes, and that was, like, the abrupt endings. Going back and rewatching, I kind of understood what people were saying, but at the same time, like, I did feel like they were somewhat, like, they may have been abrupt to a degree, but I think, like, how do you say, like, they were abrupt, but I felt satisfied with the episodes, right? Episode 3, I think, was the most put together, full story, like, this is the first one for me that felt like it was abrupt, and it's also the first one, even if you want to call those first two endings kind of abrupt, is the first one for me where I feel like, I feel shortchanged on that 30-minute. That one went very quick, and nothing happened that whole episode. Like, this is the first episode, for me at least, where I feel like I could understand people kind of being like, I don't know about this show, and also kind of starting to feel like maybe we are stacking more than we can finish up, right? Like, are we gonna just have so much to do by episode 8? Like, it very much felt through the first 2 episodes that wasn't happening. Then you do a full pause, go back, tell a big piece of story that's going to be very important in a place we go back to for sure in this one. But now it's like, okay, now we're back to 4. It's like, cool, we just went back. I need to run forward. And nothing happened this whole episode. Like, we saw things. You know, we went back to the temple. We had a little mini council. Soul fought to be the head of the mission and to bring Osha with him, which seems to be things we've seen already. May and Qimir kind of just running through the woods and like talking about stuff that we've heard them. How are we ever going to kill without a weapon and all these things? And then right when stuff is finally starting to happen in the episode, it was done. I will say, based on where it, like, that's just such an odd place to end. And what would make him show up and do the kill for her? Like, that is the episode for me that makes me really think that maybe it is Qimir. Maybe Manny Jacinto is the Sith Lord. Because I just don't understand why the Master would have been there to take out Kelnacca and then not take out Kelnacca, right? Like, well, I guess they took out Kelnacca, but Kelnacca, you know, not taken out by, I don't know, man. That was odd. Like, it felt unnatural that he would be there, unless it's Manny Jacinto, and in which case that would be extremely disappointing. I do very much dig the Sith's helmet. That smile, that kind of crooked smile thing that he's got going on is real dope visually. This isn't an episode where nothing happened. 2 things happened. May and Osha both like spun 360 degrees in a second. It was like, May, focus. You know what? Actually, now that I don't have Qimir with me for like 2 minutes, I don't need to do this. Like, that just felt so like just out of nowhere. Like, I maybe I'm feeling disconnected because like we haven't seen her deal with seeing Osha, so like that could be and then having that episode and be, man. The more I think about it, last week's episode should have been how this show started. Like, I would have started there. Go into that episode. Okay, here are these. Like, I don't need this. Like, first episode disorientation, right? We see May kill somebody, then we go to Osha, but we don't know that it's necessarily Osha right away, or that Osha even exists. I don't think you need that mystery. I think you could have gone episode 3 first, which I think would have built some interesting stuff to then have, okay, now this is happening all these years later. What's going on? Lead me down the mystery rabbit hole. But like I said, this episode just doesn't feel like much of anything happened besides May deciding that she was going to turn herself in and her master showing up. You know, and Osha just knowing that, like, this is, okay, she's alive, that's all I need to know. Like, I'm good. We don't have to go back for anything. But, like, literally, like, this shot, where you see the teeth, and it's like everybody lights up, and Homeboy is just like,
watch out! Run!
doesn't even need to use the lightsaber. Right into I just don't understand why you end there, right? Like, I don't know. I'm just like, I haven't gotten like, you just go through. I'm like, what can we look at or talk about? Okay, they get there. Kelnacca clearly, I guess that's one thing we can talk about. When you're in Kelnacca's like abode, where he's been chilling in this forest retreat for all these years, almost everywhere you look here, I feel like we saw something on the outside before we got to the interior of his. Yeah, here's the first one, man. And look at the dot symbols. Like, I didn't really necessarily notice it right away here because you're talking about like things that look like the yin yang sign. You know, you got like, so there are other elements. It was when he got to the next spot where we saw stuff. It was the same circle. Now we also have seen that these markings seem to change between person to person. So how much research or studying was Kelnacca doing into this coven of witches post whatever happened 16 years ago? Or was this already there? You know, did Kelnacca put these carvings and things down? I don't necessarily know. I feel like there was one other shot though of. Yeah, that was the one where I was like, okay, that's the exact one that's on. I didn't even notice that. Maybe the dots are creating that yin and yang in that swirl. This is the most interesting thing from the whole episode, and it happens in the first 2.5 minutes. I'm fascinated at what's going on with Kelnacca. What's he been up to? What's he been researching? Right, like that's the other thing too that I think is interesting in the story in and of itself, is like, what have each of these Jedi been up to for the last 10 years or 16 years or whatever it was. Like, what have they been doing? What led them down these different guilty pathways that led to like Kelnacca leaving? And mind you, he was the one that sensed May and Osha like right away. But like, he just kind of off into seclusion, Torben Jedi meditation mode. And then Indara and Sol like still doing Jedi type things. Although was Indara doing Jedi type things? She was just kind of like in a bar. So like, what was she doing on that planet? Like, I've got more questions about that rather than spending the majority of the episode just doing and looking at things that we've already seen, right? Like, coming back here, cool, we've got a different instructor. We can see Jecki do a little bit of instructing. We see that her and, you know, Osha clearly got closer. Then we just jump to Kofar. Man, Jacinto still doing great stuff. I really think it's so interesting to see what his task really is, if he's not the master, because he seems so invested in everything that May is doing, and it's like how much of his life is, you know, hanging on to whatever it is that May has to accomplish. But like, yeah, we can see that he's even more invested now. He still kind of continues to play the more silly kind of like, what, me? It couldn't possibly be me. Don't look over this way. Like, look over there. Why am I like everything? Why can't I just want to get like one. I can see the image of Manny Jacinto that I want. I don't know, but like, you know, you go there, then we go back to Coruscant. Okay, we're gonna have this meeting with everybody, and like, okay, we're just talking about nothing for a couple minutes, just, you know, making us wait a little bit longer to actually be like, okay, cool, we're not gonna give it to Sol. Sol's got to fight to take the lead. Okay, fine, you can take it, and you can bring Osha with you. Back to here, where you're just doing more walking and talking. To, oh, we're still at the we still haven't left the Jedi Temple. Osha didn't leave, so Soul can convince her to come. Okay, cool. Now we're halfway through the episode. Here comes Jord doing Jord things. This little guy, now I forgot what, Basil. This little Basil guy, friggin' hysterical. But again, that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I'm always here for cute creatures. And like, that's fine, but also tonally, I want something darker at this point. Like, I really wanted to start to see that shift happening in episode 4 where we started going, like, I could have taken, if you wanted to go back down to these solo titles on a day, so like, what's the next episode gonna be? Night, and it's all just gonna take place on Kofar during the day, and I don't even know. But like, yeah, it's just one of those where you could have resolved all of this much faster and kept going from the end of the episode to get to a more natural ending space than where we did. You know, then we get here, oh, let's talk to some people, oh, they maybe know him. The other thing I'm Soul, man, anytime he senses something, his face. Like, I personally love it. I think it's odd, even if he is a master and the folks that are with him are not, that nobody else seems to sense anything that's going on besides him. And he's getting it, like, way before anybody else, right? Like, Kelnacca's that way. Oh, there's something in the woods. Like, it's just very strange that not a single other Jedi that is with him, and I would assume there are other masters in this grouping, none of them would pick up. Like, it's just, it one of those odd things about this show sometimes. But yeah, and then, I mean, it's just more walking. Oh, cool, we got like a cool insect thing. There's darkness in this woods. Oh, and it was drawn to the, like, this is the first episode where I'm really just not jiving with the writing or with the story. Like, I don't feel like we learned anything this episode, right? Like, at least the first 2 episodes, it was, here's a question, here's an answer, here's 2 more questions, here's an answer, here's 3 more questions. Like, I don't feel like any questions were posed, other than, like, what is making May completely 180 or 360, whatever you want to call it. Same with May or Osha. Like, just kind of having these interesting vibes, and then, like, yeah, like, oh, did you see it went right to the lightsaber? It's attracted to the light, like, because it's an insect. Just silliness. Then we're 20 minutes into this episode. We are still just trying to get to where Kelnacca is. Why we couldn't have just you went back in time, but a whole full pause on this story. Tell something to happen back. Soul, quick interjection to, I'm going after her. May already getting, like, I just feel like this episode is the one that kind of has me out. And not out. That's a very drastic thing. But it's the first one for me where it's like, okay, now maybe I'm seeing and feeling things that other people have been feeling and saying. I still think that the audience score being as low as it is kind of wild. I don't think anything in the show has been that bad. But this is definitely an episode where, like, literally nothing happened. And, like, great, some wonderful set design, like this forest of Kofar. You buy it, those insectopod things. Like, I really dig, again, that we're on real sets, that we're doing cool things. The scoring at the end was really strong, but, like, that's the vibe I want for every episode the rest of this show. Like, if you want me back on this train, like, full-blown, I'm really digging the Acolyte, I need the next 4 episodes to be more in tone with what that ended, like, and the whole last 5 minutes, I was probably the most invested in the episode, because you're like, May's just completely 180ing or 360ing. Oh man, Kelnacca's already dead. Then this dude shows up, and you're just like, who is this guy? What's going on? All these sabers light up, and then we're just into the credits. Like, I don't know. But this scoring, like, not even like full scoring, right? Like, there's a little bit of violence, but then there's just these odd tones and sounds. Like, that's the vibe I want this show to be right now. And I wish we were getting there a little bit faster. I will say this is definitely, I think, one of the shorter episodes, or at least it felt like the shortest episode we've had so far. 35, 44, 39, 43. Yeah, so I mean, this one is almost 5 full minutes shorter than episode 2, which, but yeah, I don't know. This one just did not click for me. I'm not out on the show, obviously, but now I'm, for the first time, genuinely concerned a little bit about this show. Feels like we just wasted a full episode, and I don't know. I mean, like, I really want to get into this Sith stuff. So, like, was the first half, whatever now the second half is going to be Sith Warrior? Like, I don't know. But you got to win me back a little bit next week, that's for sure. Because I've been going this way. When it seemed like other people were getting off the train, I was still riding. And now I'm like, maybe I should get off the train? I don't think I should get off the train. I don't think it was that terrible of an episode. Like, I was engaged in what's happening just because I'm invested in these characters. But this really is one, for me, kind of felt like a throwaway. So, yeah, we'll see what happens next week. That's really all. I don't really have much to say. Like I said, I think Lee Jung-jae continues to be the best thing in the show. Just his facial expressions and his emoting and everything that he is doing, I'm so here for. I just continue to want more for Jecki and Yord, and Amandla Stenberg continues to be solid, but it seems like there just wasn't anything in this episode. It's so weird. So, like, this should have been the get things going, man. Like, you just set up all this backstory stuff. Like, I'm way more invested and intrigued, and then we just didn't do anything. I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna shut up, though. I'm gonna flip it over to you. I'm not feeling great. What do you think? Where do you stand on the Acolyte? Is this the worst episode of the 4 thus far? Do you feel like there was a drop-off? Do you feel like nothing happened this episode except a lot of stuff that we've already seen in previous episodes? I will say, like, why did the Master show up, kill Kelnacca? Like, is he up to multiple things? He or she, I don't know what they are. But, like, I mean, I guess they've said he. So, like, what is he up to? Does he have a motive where he wants to try to get all of these Jedi? What is driving him? Again, like, that's where it's like, if it was Koril, there could be things that are making sense, but also, like, I would hate it if it was Koril personally. I'd love for her to be an end to the Sith, but I don't want, like, her or Qimir being a master. I don't know. Am I making any sense at all at this point? This is just an episode that kind of threw me off, because not much happened. So, what are you thinking, man? Good, bad, indifferent on the Acolyte Season 1, Episode 4 day? Put it down below in the comment section. Look forward to talking to you down there. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the C-Man anytime. We're talking movies, TV, trailer, reactions. And next week, we'll be back on Episode 5, hopefully turning a corner and heading toward a place that's more exciting than where Episode 4 has taken us. Although, I guess Episode 4 kind of ended in a place that felt exciting. Like, I need to know. Like, if I had to push play, I'd be pushing play. It did that. But it did feel kind of abrupt, and I wish we just would have gotten, like, 5 more minutes out of that. I could have set stuff up for the next episode in a way where I feel more grounded and not even playing field. But you want to be here to see my thoughts there. I just finished getting caught up on Gen V, so we'll have a review for that coming up from their first season as we get ready to finally dive into the boys as well. Game of Thrones, House of Dragons has started. We watched that. We'll have a review coming for that one, so you won't be afraid of that coverage. You want to see any trailer reactions or just reactions in general. You dig the vibe, you want to show a little love and support, come join C-Maniac Nation. Super easy. Jump over there, hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell if you want those alerts. And until next time, for the C-Man's Cinema Sit Down, I've been the C-Man. I'm signing off. Peace. Hey, what's up, C-Maniac Nation? Winter Ken here, where we grow out our roots and our beard, letting you know that you can see some new C-Man videos right up here and right down here. And if you want all those videos and show that man a little love and support, come join C-Maniac Nation right over there, and the C-Man will catch you on the next one.